the first to know. Nsem-Pii TV.
72 days to January 31st, 2026. I can see koso gidi pa. Na BBSC ewo Agona West aye pese de brem komo BSC. Na we dey ultimo say supporter of Dr. Bawumia and a former member of parliament are all rally for Honorable Kennedy Japan and omugina ho na mo gi nkomo. Na nkomodie ni 2 minutes 30 seconds ye pese this to certain issues are echo round. Naa Torshie ede no ho ebeji campaign ni mu no. Nkofo bebre say the way and the National Democratic Congress this time omo manage District Assembly Common Fund e chese Naa Torshie no wanye ni djuma yi because District Assembly Common Fund sike bia omo de manage at the local level. Say okwa fishing community no me here fishing net no ma ye de aboa niema nkete I say petty cash na government na ye niema akese no it is street light niema kakra here but na complaints are MCs MMDCs and DCs omo complain say omo to niema in bulk no ma chicha mo into football boots footballs ni chicha mo now community ni si omo here football na okoto football mama wa boa ma na so mboa omo hia sika no na de ehia omo no omo de aboa se nkofo ho chom school fees kwa bi omo tibi ditua na sika na eba ni so a omo salary is 5,000 Ghana cedis eso na nkofo asa line ten e omo pono no omo be ne no metiba yedwuma in essence no District Assembly Common Fund no and a DMPP nya at the local level. That is some of the analysis nkofo edeba. Naa Torshie ede reply ba o say ejuma na oyeye no oye ma Dr. Bawumia because ono na no head of economic management team na e kan nkomo na ekoswa wan say nipa me believe is oji sobo no pa ombo ni din because why no so onye politician ken of react the finance minister ono na no manage Ghana sikenda so de bia na ye bofo anchensa but of course say Dr. Bawumia the head of Ghana's economic management team. Into no ye Juman man, into Juman oye ni ya. Oye ma Dr. Bawumia. One year oye ma Dr. Bawumia. Ano? Na this delegate any MP share ewo Honorable Kennedy Japan campaign as a share delegate. And no or this Nsem-Pii na etunini. And MP no year no. Yanko tie sa nkomodi ni ba na yatoaso
say odidi atuo no dey back constituencies dey eduma say common fund ona bu ni ngoto no so na on kasa na make me boa ono as a member of parliament ono why member of parliament no why parliament candidate catch me say oye who abra na oye MP this is assembly common fund no and president ahe na bae dey say be mu no who MCs no omu ya common fund na ntumi asa
Inti mampana makan de Naa Torshie or a common fund administrator. Naa Torshie or a common fund administrator. She runs with the policy of government. Economic management team one chair under His Excellency Dr. Bawumia. Nintin zije se Obama Naa Torshie sika. Obo release sika ma Naa Torshie. No phone go to your ma offended MMDCs. Ma Naa Torshie bakere emi as administrator ni ntiande muntu acha. Ebusafo omo enjoy the madna ye na. Naa Torshie na some kind eduma oye no yin Dr. Bawumia na oye. So ye ni ye ya oye ma Dr. Bawumia. Wa nye ni ye so oye ma Dr. Bawumia. Into oye no kwa there Naa Torshie ono wetum na wonde. Paul is there for I give unto you what I receive. Janessa came on where the other man. It is not true. On one of there, Obama BB Adama Naa Torshie, don't from MMD's map, Naa Torshie, on no over them to say the Obama. It is never true. We entered the Mukutuna, we could not have lost the elections on the day because Naa Torshie.
Honorable, uncle, menko train. Say my man Naa Torshie was part of a government there. The government was another government, right? na na do Bawumia's government enti tumi a eye me ene wo yetumi eno ene de ma eye e ma me Naa Torshie se NPP awa Agona West etu am street light ye ntumi anfa nsu anko community na eye district assembly come for na eye de emba openi ene already say yankodi yewa akubraku Japan me parasem but the message of the banu a message of emboa ye aban dia a government of the people by the people and for the people akoye na ankoye ya we don't portion blames once you start portioning blames they are not being decisive
Etisa na MP nu eyi nsem na no so yema Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia wanye ama ono ano ho Kojo Oponkroma former information minister honorable Kojo Oponkroma osanso ye member of parliament for Ofuasi Ayerebi o say odi Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia chi eko campaign especially in the central region they woni nini ehu ode na swate a manage Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia chi ni say he is a winnable candidate only on case because of nepotence in niema and I say the obetima because obi abetima ye bibia Dr. ya odi chum engineer kwa bra Japan Dr. Baine Champ omo na obetima ye bibi but also share politically any pa nkofo beto abama na Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ono no a winning candidate yenko ti nkomodia Kojo Oponkroma editor form efa campaign the odi na niehu awedi Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia especially in the home region of Kennedy or in Japan central region
different from the Anipana SASA elections committee no ese omum pese proxy voters and as a proxy vote ebeye adwuma e wa ba ye kwakoto mu adenti am so mo se camps ni bia complain so mo suru say obi ebe use proxy vote e de wi abani mu
okay
and as a proxy vote abi betumi ato different from the Anipana
original
all cast on better man on waka and until no make take his decision me tie na me na kakra say ye koto aba me na brewa na ni enye no e kojina booth no mo to me catch is official na sem pesa abana eni bi team mame yen kase
ni pass message facing any mame
yen kase there's a risk say abana bi team mama ono ani party intino ye ma abana enkonkoto ma no se enye adwuma saa ma ne yi a me gidi say focus ne kwan e be fast way make sure say mrana e allow proxy voting e be adwuma
so constitution no say it allow some
yes na proxy voting no say be enye na be so yakọ gina say wo beto amame
de me pe
me esa say mi wo gidie e wo mu say be ameka setoma no wo beto amano no e na me di mitumi mma sekona kotuma because me ntumi mfia bochire mbeto nti adenti na wo a wote nchen no usuro se medimitumi me na medimitumi ama abana usuro se medimitumi ma abana ba akoto ama different candidate na mse bijimidi na me proxy vote ama ne so nkonkoto mame na wo a wote nchen no e problem but me ti say election committee ne say enunti no proxy vote and I say matter say petitions
because someone so raise concerns say sikasema fe no be chat secretary dia bane adin
enunti na mrano allow for proxy vote adibia ye proxy vote no eduma no enti baby omo be adin pumasi be na fi asem na ye simple dia to 31st ye dey be ba ena dey oboni ni no e was so we ni
enti ni mo wakum do be we
minimum Dr. Bawumia na me support no.
Okay.
One of the reasons for which I'm supporting apart from everything so is the fact that minim say obe win at the end of the day.
Oh, to win so obe win.
Me makomamu minim say so we nanti across the country. Near central region Monday area. Nanti across the country. Put be okasa me ama ko gina bontin. Na me delegates ni bi nkeka woni ade edi nkomo. Edan ye ko ba ko wotema. Peni ba ko ka chem say on tuma Bawumia. I'm saying, okay, don't you know too much about me? I say, chairman, we say, let me he was supported by me.
Intino want to.
Intina mento. Let me friend, no any no be me no be John. I'm saying, they are okay. No more any dinko. I say, about me and Kasa. No near me for you. Only the correct person. Na chairman we went him here. But me no confuse the dinko mo the call on there. Obvious to me say, obey winning. But me big point in here. MPP4. saa kasa na we akogina no attack we na we abegina TV so no attack we ni ade e my party no nya kono to me support a candidate by nko super obi
okay
kan ho sempa na nka ye be wie no na easy ase nyina ye beto abasako mu ya be ko baako na ba ndisi adan e dadai oba no obeka se revenue ni kosoro but be hwim revenue no so ate oka 50 million on fa na obeka 400 million na nka ye nyina ye tinu e pempesi wana nko na ye hold ndisi aman no to account ya nye sa na se bi mu ye o ma bi so de bia ense mu nko ade a ye party no no be dey aman
Delegates say you left now lose.
Then I'll be saying
about 2%.
No, 2%, yeah.
Yeah, no, lose. I don't know about the same. Because
the bill levy 2%. I think 1% to say 1 point something percent. E-levy.
And yep,
I can a percentage. Okay.
Yeah, because I say only e-levy now about 2%.
Companies. The one who did that, it was Dr. Kwabena before, and when he finished, people gave him a name. They said it was unprecedented. 3 years of single-digit inflation. When he was Osafumafu, they were calling him Oya DA Osafumafu. If it's about cutting taxes, in 2017, Kanofreta cut over 14 taxes. Go and see the way they were jubilating in Abosokai. Mr. Speaker, if we, the political class, continue with this exercise of exciting ourselves and dancing over these temporary gains, and we don't deal with the structural issues, all you need is one major shock to the Ghanaian economy. You are back to square one. Mr. Speaker, I want to draw the attention of my colleagues to the tables, and I beg of them to take time and read the tables. Let me take them to Appendix 2A. Appendix 2A. Mr. Speaker, I ask them to please take their budgets and read with me Appendix 2A. Half year when we came to this chamber, we warned our colleagues on the government bench that the revenue measures you have put in place, contrary to your thinking that it will raise more revenue so that you can meet your expenditure commitments, it will not meet the targets. Mr. Speaker, half year when we came here, revenue was underperforming by 3 billion Ghana cedis. In fact, if you read the all of government report published by the Controller and Accountant General, contrary to their claim that we didn't leave them buffers, the balance brought forward from 2024 is 11 billion Ghana cedis. If you add that to the 3 billion, their revenue shortfall at half year was 14 billion. Mr. Speaker, as at now, the revenue shortfall is 8 billion. If you look at the numbers, 8 billion. And if you add that 11 billion to it, that is 19 billion. Mr. Speaker, if Hansard and our colleagues who are here will be truthful to themselves, mid-year, we told them here that by the end of the year, they will have to cut expenditure by 30 billion because their revenue is not performing. Today, when you look at the tables, you have cut expenditure by 28 billion. Then you cut 30 billion because revenue is not performing. Why is that important? Because, Mr. Speaker, all the promises that you make, if you are not able to mobilize the revenue, you cannot fulfill it. If you go into the tables and you find the numbers that were promised us, the team from finance told us that they were going to remove taxes and they won't bring new taxes. And then after they have implemented this new fiscal strategy, they will get more revenue. Remember, the finance minister told us that he was going to move tax to GDP ratio, in fact, revenue to GDP ratio from 13% to 18%. I'm sure we all remember. Mr. Speaker, when we were leaving power, revenue as a percentage of GDP was 16%. After they implemented their strategy, revenue is now underperforming. It's now at 11% of GDP. Colleagues, if you haven't taken time to look at the tables, you have lost 5% of GDP on revenue. You think there's more money? 5% of GDP, that is 5% of 1 trillion, is 50 billion Ghana cedis. If you don't understand it, please let me explain some more. What boka 50 billion? And that is why you have had to cut your expenses. And Mr. Speaker, the expenses they have cut, it's not just numbers. The 28 billion they have cut is not numbers. They are teachers who were waiting to be recruited. And because this government has played politics with the revenue strategy, they are at home. There are nurses who are waiting to be recruited. Because you have played politics with the revenue strategy, they are sitting at home.
They are contractors who are waiting to be paid. And because you have been doing politics with the revenue strategy, they have not been paid. Mr. Speaker, they are the flagship programs that young Ghanaians are waiting for this government to fund.
Okay, so Yera Kojo upon Kruma on the floor of Parliament, debate, budget debate. The last video I will take, Nana Asafoji, MP for Bosumi Freho. In fact, one of the new MPs. Now, Osha said they are MPs no old any new. It's a conductor a bad debater. NDC for MPs in the Mutia. I said Domuka Brina. I said Domuka Brina. More MPs are Drasafo or Mr. Bobiaso, Nemua, my Coco Junior, I bear my bass original so Cassa, but too many come up. Makofa. Domuka Brina, we were here some for the shortest press conference ever. I conduct your Ghana. Only people here. Kaswa MP. You see the press conference in a premature ejaculation. Quick. Guinness Book of World Record. I understand 3 minutes. I ran. What? Bawumia kofa anasa foje MP for Bosumi Freho no so ka emaburu no na ada Muhammad dada wo mu eni oba ban mu so entura wadidi akiro no kofa anasa foje.
And I recounted the things he mentioned to entice the youth, yet he failed to achieve them. The Speaker, I mentioned the GIDA program. I mentioned the Sada tree planting program. I mentioned the Unconfirmed program. I mentioned the youth in beads making. I mentioned the youth in potholes patching. I mentioned the youth in movie making. All these programs were programs the President John Dramani Mahama promised the young people but ended up in sham. The Speaker, if you look at the appropriation or you look at the disbursement, the Speaker, all the programs I have mentioned here, some of them did not even get any allocation at all. Those who got allocation was not even more than 20% of them. So the young people in this country who were hoping for jobs to be created by the 2025 budget ended up not having any job. Mr. Speaker, again, when you look at the budget here, in the 2026 budget, he has again rehashed and mentioned again these same programs. The Speaker, he mentioned now the Speaker, he mentioned the Ejumera program again and now allocated 160 million. He mentioned the Nkukon Kitinkiti allocated 250 million. The National Codes allocated 100 million. Now the National Apprenticeship Program, Mr. Speaker, he mentioned 300 million in the 2025 budget and now reduced it to 100 million in the 2026 budget. Mr. Speaker, now in the 2024 budget, they didn't mention any figure, but told us in this house that the national coordinator for the 24-hour program will come to this house. Mr. Speaker, he came to this house, put out his figures, and the program was launched. In the launch of that program, they mentioned that the 24-hour program, the flagship program of the NDC, the Speaker, would require 4 billion to do that. Now, in that document, the component of government commitment to that 4 billion, the Speaker, will be 7% of that 4 billion. Now, when you do 7% of that 4 billion, it is $280 million. The Speaker, when you look into the allocation of the 2026 budget, the minister and the government allocated 110 million. The Speaker, 110 million in dollars is $11 million, which is 3.92% of the allocation that they're supposed to say. Mr. Speaker, the question we're asking is that, is this government committed to job creation?
All right, a very important and necessary question. So simple. What's over here? I say, what's over here? Big push now. What's over here? No. Also, 24-hour economy. Also, we have $4 billion. $4 billion. No, we have budget allocation now. What's it? I buy $4 billion. Now buying the 7%. Remember? After quiet budget allocation now, why 100 million Ghana cedis? 100 million Ghana cedis. No, what the core dollar terms are 11 million. 11 million Ghana cedis. No, dollars. No, what the core into the 4 billion one, just 3.92%.
Only what you say 24.
Only what you say, baby.
Can you say okay?
What can you say? They are 2 foot Ghana. Now, Stephen appear. Also, was Antimampon. Or say now call your speech was 2 minutes 51 seconds and not 3 minutes.
Stephen is one magnanimous. Yamani 3 minutes. One man consider a new train. It's no. The Abama who say and Crawford send me Coco video no at Agona West and I'm pay and I would na kwa bo ayidi na akuru it's about 30 seconds and said this MPs no ewu ankwa almost the number kasa hu na I said I am below Pemana de Besano. I am Yamshino, and this episode, no, Casado Yamshino. Nsem-Pii MPs ni etwono say achimota for na be akabro for edbehiem mami nye we na das be ye we mami na fe uwie no ma bo we na sana me ne cappuccino ato aso ne fe yewi ebono nkono pe ye doctor ye say edutwum transfer bacho Gidifed clothing for some country say
2026 budget and economic policy presented to this House last week paints a glowing picture of prosperity and transformation. But beneath the glossy language and rhetoric lies a document full of half-baked measures, inconsistencies, and misguided fiscal priorities. The NDC government has left Ghanaians high and dry. They've left Ghanaians and kicked them to the curb.